Good afternoon, golfing fans. Welcome back to the channel, proudly sponsored by betting.co.uk. So it's that time of the week again where I'm just here to bring you my golf selections for the two tour events that we have coming this week, both for the PGA Tour and we have the return of the DP World Tour this week where we have the Singapore Classic. Two very, very good events to get stuck into, two very difficult golf courses. And this is generally where my selections tend to do the best as well. So I'm hoping that this week we have a nice, strong week indeed. Before I go on to the preview to the courses and my best selections for this week, though, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I really do appreciate you tuning in. And just a little bit of a background towards myself. I'm an ex-tour professional, so I've got some playing experience, and I'm now putting that to good use, trying to find you the players that I think are best suited to the golf courses that the players take on every single week on tour. Now, I take a very unique stance to my approach to finding my selections as well. You will find that the majority of tipsters out there just look at stats based on greens in regulation, who's holding the most putts, when really, when you've got a very difficult course like this, you actually need to take a look at the parts where players are actually going to make a big advantage. And to me, at a course like Laguna National, which is where the Singapore is going to be taking place this week, you've got greens that are above you, you've got greens that are actually got shallow greens as well, and there's a lot of undulations on the green. So it's actually trajectory and distance control that you need to find more than finding players that have got good green and regulation stats, because that is based on a very wide variety of courses. But this week, for example, on the Singapore Classic, is very, very unique. Trajectory and distance control is absolutely key. They are the players that will have an advantage around this sort of course, and that will, of course, enable them inevitably to find more birdie opportunities. But I'll go on to both of those things in a moment. However, the process has gone quite well so far. In 2023, I was at 948 points profit for the season. And so far in 2024, we're about 40 points in profit. So it could be better, but we are still in profit for the year. And I'm just going to obviously try and kick on this week with these two really good events. Also, if you're new to my channel, please do hit subscribe. It's completely free to do so. And of course, I do have my column over on betting.co.uk. There is a link in the description below for you to go over and check that out. But not only will you find my horse racing articles, my golf articles, but you'll find loads of free bets across the website as well for you to take advantage of. And again, you might even find yourself a winner or two along the way. The final thing to mention is I've got two selections for you this week, two in the DP World Tour, two on the PGA Tour. If you'd like a full list of my selections, then there is a link in the description below where you can come over and join the group chat. I've got about 400 members in there at the moment, and we talk sport all day, all week, and obviously you've got some really good insight from some other tipsters within my group as well. That is optional though, and I guess the one fun thing to say is rather than putting 6, 7, 8 selections up per event, I do maximize mine to 4. I won't ever go over that because I don't want to obviously be spending out too many points following loads of different tipsters. So it's always going to be a 4 field maximum. But again, if you want my full list, you can come over and join at the group chat. Okay, so let's go straight on to this week's golf, and we'll start with the DP World Tour this week because I'm really excited to have the return this week, and it takes place at Laguna National Golf Club here for the Singapore Classic, which returns for the DP World Tour for the second time. It used to be part of the Asia Tour, but it has actually been taken over by the DP World Tour in the last couple of years. We've got a really, really good event to get stuck into. Now, most of these fairways have a lot of undulations, the same with the greens as well, but finding the right spots on these greens because of the pin placement, you can actually find yourself with a lot more opportunities than some players if you're finding those right spots. And this is where trajectory comes into play, and this is also where distance control comes into play, rather than finding those that are just hitting greens in regulation, because you're finding the right spots this week. Again, with these undulating greens, you will have a lot more birdie opportunities than most. They actually tend to put these pins in positions as well, where finding the right spots on the green does become beneficial to those players again. So distance control and trajectory is absolutely key this week. Ockie Strider won this event last year, and if you go back and look at the field again last year, those that had that distance control and right trajectory, whether that be an elevated green or a shallow green, they were all at the top of the pack, and Ockie Strider put this to good effect last year by shooting 63 to beat Sami Välimäki by just the one shot. Now, this is actually going to be a really good event. We've got a very strong lineup. The first 10 to 15 players in the market, you've got your Ewan Ferguson, your Højgaards, your Jordan Smiths, your Shane Lowrys, all in a very tight bunch sort of area there. And they are all obviously going to have very good chances if they turn up. But the first selection for me in this week's Singapore Classic is going to be Yannick Paul at 28-1 each way, returning from 4 weeks off the circuit. But this course will absolutely suit him down to the ground if he is firing on all cylinders. And I've got every right to believe that that is going to be the case, because in a recent interview, Yannick simply said he took the time off, the last 4 weeks off, simply to get himself fresh and ready for this event. And he said he's ready to kick on with his season. He has actually started really well this year, but those 4 weeks, he felt like he needed them, and he's going to be coming here ready to go. He's sort of a target golf specialist as well. So when he's got an iron in his hand or a wedge in his hand, he definitely is one of these players that you can't see being too far away. He showed this when he finished second in the Scandinavian Mixed Open. His iron play will always keep him in it and will never leave him too far away at the finish. So I highlight Yannick Paul this week for having good wedge play, really good distance control with his irons as well. And I think this is going to be a place that he really does thrive on. He's been improving as well with his short game in recent years. I was very surprised to see that he did get closer to the Ryder Cup spots, but he hasn't taken that with any well, he's just taken it as a positive. He's really been working hard on his game since. And I think coming here fresh, ready to go, he isn't going to be too far away at the finish. And if you do like this stat, he is 5th in the strokes gained from your approach play. But again, ideally, you want to be looking at trajectory and distance control. And that is where Yannick Paul absolutely thrives. And at 28-1 each way, can't see him being too far away, especially at this sort of course. Selection number 2 is going to be Rikoya Hoshino, who is second on the strokes gain stats. And I've just been really, really impressed with him over the last couple of weeks. Well, this season, to be honest with you, in general, he won his first DP World title by winning the Qatar Masters last year. And he was really, really, in fact, that was this year. And he put in a very, very professional, composed performance. I really like the way he went about his business. And he is another, just like Yannick Paul, very, very good with his irons and wedge play, especially that distance control when he is in good form. Now, he didn't necessarily play too well at the Workwear Open or the SDC, but this is rather typical of players after finding their first win. But I just expect him to bounce back to form this week at 50-1. I think that is very much overpriced for the credentials that Rikoya has on offer. I could definitely see him winning again this year. So the 50-1, again, when you're looking at the top half of the top bunch here of the field, you've got a lot of players between 14-1 and 22-1. Well, Rikoya Hoshino, for me, is definitely one of the players that should be up there. He's second on your strokes gained with your approach play, and he's only improving as well for the experience. He's a young fella, thriving, and I think each way at 50-1, Rikoya Hoshino is going to have a really good opportunity of finding those places. Okay, so we'll move on to the Valspar Championship on the PGA Tour at the Copperhead Golf Course at Innisbrook Resort. And again, this is a very tough golf course. We shouldn't see a massive birdie fest here. It's 7,340 yards long, a par 71. Again, quite undulating fairways. There's a lot of undulating greens as well, a few dog legs, and you're generally approaching this sort of event at weird angles from the greens as well. So there's a lot of tight angles into the approach play here, and you want a player with plenty of patience because there's going to be some bogeys on the card. But you need a good, solid iron player, someone who's nice and patient. And generally, the harder the golf course, the better Sungjae Im seems to play. He's 20-1 each way here, and I think he's going to have a really, really good opportunity of getting another win on his resume. He's world number 35. He's a very, very impressive player, and I like the fact that he moves the ball left to right and right to left, because that will be a big, big positive if he's on form this week. Again, heading into these sort of courses where you've got greens with real tight angles for your approach play. He's got a really good short game as well, because if you are missing greens here, you're going to have a few difficult up and downs. But again, he's a very patient player, really good swinger of the golf club, and I wouldn't see Sungjae Im being too far away at 20-1. He's a 2-time winner on tour as well. I could definitely see him winning 3 or 4 more in the next couple of years. Then my final selection is going to be Keegan Bradley at 40-1. Now, he's a 6-time winner on the PGA Tour, and another player, the harder the golf course, the better he seems to play. Now, there's a lot of wind. If there was a lot of wind forecast this week, I probably wouldn't fancy him as much, but we've got calm conditions, and he's another player that's got really good iron play. He can move it left to right, right to left. Doesn't really matter for him. And Keegan Bradley's one of these players that when he gets on a roll with his putter as well, he can put in a very, very good score. I think if Keegan Bradley starts this week in round 1 or 2 with a very, very good round, then he's actually going to be really hard to catch at 40-1 each way, and I just really like his chances. He's one of these players, as I said, the harder the course, the better he seems to play, and he's just got a lot of things that actually in his favor this week. And at 40 to 1, I think he's pretty decent value outside the top contenders. So just to recap for you, on the DP World Tour, we've got the Singapore Open. I like Yannick Paul at 28 to 1 each way and Rokoya Hoshino at 50 to 1 each way. And then on the PJ Tour, where we've got the Valspar Championship, I like Sungjae Im at 20 to 1 each way and Keegan Bradley each way at 40 to 1 as well. Okay, so they're the selections for this week. Hopefully we can have a nice, solid week. Very excited, obviously, with the return of the DP World Tour. If you'd like to come over and join my group chat, as I said, there is a link in the description for you below. Over 400 members. We give away free bets every week. We've got a tipping league, all sorts going on. Come over and join the fun if you would like to. But thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Completely free to do so. And good luck with your bets.